When you combine those two guys, bro, there are people in this room, 1 million retail, 1.5 million creative in the same year. Bro, we're not doing brain surgery here, guys. We're just like helping people buy and sell real estate, right? You're just like, how can I get a listing? These guys are gonna make like $2 million. And the answer for brokerage is instead of opening a brokerage, it's to build an organization because it's highly leveraged. Can it exist without you? Can it grow without you? Do you have to run it operationally? What's the only thing you have to do? Give value in market. Hey, look, what are we doing? Adding value. There's different like avatars in terms of building. And I'm gonna talk about that a little later, but I'll answer it now. Is tomorrow I'll actually talk about it. But there's different avatars in terms of attraction. One is the production route. I sell a lot of real estate, you should partner with me. Another one is the influencer route, media. Another one is events, right? I think people want to put, it's funny because when they asked me to talk about media to the top team, like you had to be doing 20 million or more in volume. There was 160 agents on that call. And they were asking me to teach them about media. So they want to pigeonhole me as like the media guy. Oh, another avatar is the coach, right? And they're like, yeah, you're the media guy. I'm like, yeah, sort of. But I'm also, what other of those avatars am I?
Coach and producer.
Coach, yep. Coach, I don't produce currently, but I did at high volume. Media and events, I'm doing all of them, right? So to your point, I don't think it's necessary. And then the question is if I'm doing it and I'm not doing it in an economic way, because it just adds a lot of friction, the team. And if I had a choice between those avatars, it's like, well, which one would be the most leverage and compound the quickest and creates the least friction? So like Jose, here's what's wild. Jose's the silent assassin here, okay? So before I joined EXP, how many agents did you have? Before I joined EXP?
Like 40-something.
How many do you have now?
Close to 500.
Close to 500. Hey, but here's what's wild. This is the power of this model. I represent like 90% of his organization. It takes one person. He's completely in the brokerage business. He doesn't answer any what's your average like rev share now?
Anywhere from 12 to 20.
Anywhere from $12,000 to $20,000 a month in reoccurring revenue. But Edwin, my broker says if I weave them, nobody's gonna do business with me.
I think for your question as well too, I use something called thought. That whenever I have a certain like belief, I audit that belief and I ask myself questions to see if that belief is actually true. So I'll give you an example. Like when I was switching to EXP, Remax said we're the number one company. Your business is gonna go down because we reference the business that you get is all because you're with Remax. But I said to myself, I'm like, is this true? And I started doing some thought auditing. I said, okay, are there other agents that are outside of Remax that still have a lot of market share in our area? I was like, okay, that's true. Are there people that are outside of Remax that make more money than me? I'm like, yeah, there is. So I went down like this line of questioning that I was like, okay, this is not true. And then I made it a mission. I'm like, I'm going to be bigger than Remax in my area, basically. And that was, I turned that limiting belief into something positive. So the same thing for you, like you have this potential belief right now that like in order to grow a large organization, it requires production or that it'll help you make it easier. Start asking yourself, is this true? The first question that I would ask myself, is there anybody in the organization that has never sold real estate but has a large organization? And the answer is yes. It's not there's a couple people in the organization that have never sold a single home, have 2,000-3,000.
How many people do you have?
26.
Have you ever sold a piece of real estate in your life?
Never.
So the second half it up.
But the point is too, as he was speaking, I heard Warren Buffett say something which was really cool. He said, business isn't like the Olympics. You don't get extra credit for doing really hard things. So instead of trying to jump over 10-foot walls, I want to jump over 1-foot walls. Does that make sense? So to me, this is my thinking. And I know there's people who have done that. But the people, when I speak to them, they're always trying to make a decision of whether to get rid of the team or not. Because it doesn't make a lot of money, you know what I mean? If I get rid of the team, I won't be able to build.
Second piece to that, and that makes a ton of sense, appreciate that. The second piece to that is, it's also fair to say if you're doing a lot of business though, you're gonna have a lot of expenses. So like for example, like our YouTube channel.
Yeah.
Of course, it already exists. Costs $100,000 a month.
Yeah.
Whether we want it to or not, if you do it the right way, it costs a lot of money.
Yeah.
So, mailers, all this stuff.
Yeah.
Corporate, you're gonna spend on, let's call it $10,000. Well, the team, off their own production, not leads we give them, can cover all marketing expenses.
Yeah, I get it.
In production for the next 10 years. I got 28. I'm going to get me in production for another 10 years.
Yeah.
Right. So if my expenses are covered every single year, no matter what, and make some $100,000, $200,000, whatever. But I'm also producing and keeping everything I make. That's the.
And this is great, by the way, because this is what masterminding is supposed to be like, which is triangulating ideas. You know what this is? Thoughtful disagreement, which, by the way, is in limited supply in our country. Okay? So it's cool. And what you do is you get in a room with believable people, believable meaning they've produced favorable outcomes over an extended period of time. Not once, they're not a one-hit wonder, they've done it over extended, and they have long-term track records of good judgment, and then you triangulate. Like, what do you think? What do you think? And then what comes to the surface is like the closest to the thing that you can to what's true. So when I hear you saying that, I get that. I know some people operate teams that way to pay for expenses and their production is like just profit. I think that's also operating under the assumption that the production doesn't have a cost, which is your time, energy, way more. You see what I mean? So like, if I look at that, I'm like, well, there's just so much friction. And truthfully, if I'm not operating it from like this pure economic model where it makes sense independent of whether I'm in production or not, it's like, it's not really, like, why would I do it?
You as an individual, it's friction on your family. Yeah. It's friction on your kids.
Definitely been more of that.
Like, and I'm telling you because, like, I went on a trip with Aaron and Carla to Jackson Hole. I think that was one of your guys' first trip where you guys were not
doing deals. Yeah.
And Carla said something like, okay, like, this is my first trip where I'm not, like, really checking emails or something like that. So, and I know them, and they'd be at events or on vacation, and they'd be like, hey, did you get that counter out?
Yeah.
Hey, did you do this? And it's the same thing. Like, we were in the room right now, and then there was this deal, this offer that needed to get executed, and I needed to talk to the seller to give me the green light to execute it. And then my wife's sitting there for a couple of minutes waiting for me to finish that call. So not only is that route, there's so many different ways to make money. Like, if you want to make $1 million,
yeah,
like insane amount. It's just taking the route that has the least resistance. And don't get me wrong, I'm very grateful for the production and the investments and all that, but it's just a way to raise cash. And once you get the cash, it's like, okay, how can I buy back my time, basically, in a way? That's the whole point of the game.
Yeah, so, and to that point, and that's what's coming up for me, it's like, that's operating under the assumption that there's no frictional cost to the team, which there is, it's time. And everything I say yes to is something else I have to say no to. So when he's telling that story, it made me chuckle because...
Let me ask you, how different is your life now?
Oh my God. Ask Carla, how different is our life now?
It's wonderful.
Like, wildly. So here's what would happen. Here was the conversation in my head. You ready? I know I'm gonna have to do this. And I'm like, it's gotta get done. It takes what it takes. So I can either mention it now, at the beginning of the day, she'll be pissed, but she'll get over it. Or I can enjoy the day, ask her at the end, then she'll be pissed. That was the conversation in my head. You know what I mean? So I think that, to Jose's point, is like, I think there's like a million ways to make money. So I'm always thinking the following. I think we need to have filters, because when you're smart, hardworking, and ambitious, how many people besides me see money everywhere? Bro, I think that way. God's blessed me with this, like, everywhere I go, I'm like, bro, how are they making money here? Like, what's going on? Like, how are they doing this? Like, always, constantly, and perpetually, right? And the hard part is determining what type of money's worth pursuing. Everybody in this room, your issue is not getting what you want, it's deciding what you want. Like, what type of life do you want? There's a life that comes with that. Do I want that?
Because I go back and forth between
Organization.
So then could you kind of create through your organization a team that you fund a lease?
Of course. I mean, you do that, yes? Yeah, how many agents do you have now?
70-something.
Yeah, good for you, way to go.
Thanks.
Wrap it up, though.
Wrap it up. Hey, just so you know, I tell people, because like, you know, they're like, oh, she's a lady. I'm like, bro, if I went into battle and I was on a horse and she was standing next to me, they'd be like, is she okay? I'm like, that's not the question you should be asking. Right? She'll rip all your heads off. And what's wild is of all the agents in the organization, she has the most agents currently, right? So, but go ahead and share how you're doing that, how you structure it.
So, like, 2021 was my first year in Texas, and I did 52 deals. The brokerage was like, now you have to start a team.
Right.
I didn't know anything else, right? So I had 2 buyer's agents and 2 staff members, and we did 780 GCI, like 70 deals that year. My taxes, all the analyticals, after paying babysitters, because someone has to be with little kids, can't leave them alone.
Listen up.
And I'm the mother and the father, so I play 2 roles in my house. After paying staff, after the splits and all that, I made like $380 after everything on taxes in 2024. And by the way, I sold 70 homes and like didn't see my kids. In 2024, I made on my taxes, it was like $425. Guess how many homes I sold? 17.
Wow.
But what did we did something? What did we implement?
So I really enjoy the people who show up in the organization. Like they're on Aaron's calls. They are here. They show up for themselves. If I have a lead that I can't service or I don't have time for, I want to give it to them, and I don't want to ask for anything because it helps them to cap. So now they achieve something that like made it easier for them. It instills a sense of we are an actual team. I'm not just out here being used by somebody, like this person has my back. And I also think that it inspires them to go out and get other people because they're like, hey, I could do this too. Like if I'm too busy.
Yeah, and you're still being compensated with rev share.
Yeah, well, the rev share was like 60 grand, right? Like it wasn't, I mean, some people that's small money, but to me, that was like better than what I was doing with the team before. I actually made more money selling a quarter of the homes.
But now you have leverage, and now you have this digital team.
Yes, and I'm a mom. Like I go to work 9 to 4.
Wow.
Yeah.
I take them to school. I'm with them all day. Like, they've gotten over losing their stepfather and their birth father. That's a lot for kids to go through. And I was present in their life, and it didn't sacrifice income.
Yeah, and I'm curious. So, are you seeing what I'm saying, which is that it is a team?
Yeah.
It's just a digital version of a team.
And actually, what we're doing is so freaking cool, and no other organization is doing this. Jose's helping me get a 23 lot luxury deal that we're gonna make a shit ton of money on. And like, there's Chris Perez in Florida.
Yeah.
I'm helping him to get a development. Like nobody is using national partners like we are.
And at Deli's, you've helped how many people do creative deals this year?
So I work with Jessica.
Like 4 or 5, yes? 10. And what does that mean to you in assignment fees, you? I just say the number, what is it? Close to 100K. Why? Team.
Yeah.
Do you see the different version?
Like the idea of building a team has never like sparked my interest like the regular models because I attempted it and I hated it. So I think I'm just trying to figure out.
It's a different
It's a different way of thinking.
It's a lot.
Right. So if you notice, like what I provide, and I think what you do too, so my intention is to like lead by example, right? Like not do as I say, but do as I do. So I show up to calls and I add value. I market to bring people to the ecosystem. But when they have like issues with transactions or whatever, it's not like we're not interested in helping them, but there's a whole brokers of record. All of EXP is there for that reason. So you basically have an operational partner. You're running a team without any of the expenses. Let me say that again. You're running a team without any expenses. Let me say it again. You're running a team without any expenses. So how many people besides me, because when I was selling 150 homes a year, if I stepped out for 2 weeks, can it run without you? Can it grow without you?
No, very unlikely. Now let's look at RevShare as like, okay, I said it. Would EXP run without me?
Yes.
Yeah.
Okay, would it grow with me?
Yes.
I promise you guys, if I was not here, this thing with the people that are involved would continue to grow on.
Well, that and what me and Jose is doing is willable and transferable to Carla and Mariela. If something happens to me, I disappear on the planet, RevShare continues to keep following up to them in perpetuity for the rest of their life.
So I'm just a little lost just because I'm not too familiar with EXP. Can you go through the fundamentals of the model and what you mean by organization?
Yes. So beautiful. So what we're going to do is not today, but tomorrow, I'm going to do a deep dive on that. Yeah, but it's a great question. And I'm glad you're thinking about it.
So when you mentioned them like not, building an organization, you have a team, but you have no expenses, but your expense is the referral, right? So you're giving a lead off to somebody else to close. You're giving them 50%.
Yes, that's your expense.
Yeah. So I think what in a different type of a model, like what we're doing, the deals that we're closing is our production.
Yes.
The deals that we have our team members do, like we hand off to them, I think the key assumption there is that like those are deals that wouldn't have happened.
That's the assumption.
Yeah, but it's close to the reality.
Yeah, well, and then
We only have so much capacity, right?
I agree.
The deals that we're handing off to them is just deals that were leads that we were getting that we weren't able to service and hand them off to the team.
Yeah.
And then the team's also closing their own deals from their own sphere and their own sources. And then we're getting the splits off of that too.
Yeah. So
And also rev share.
yeah, so again, I think what's really, really helpful, and I don't know if you guys have done this, is do a real deep dive on numbers. Like pull out, look at them, like okay. So you know how I did this, line by line.
Yeah.
You should know those. So one of the things I really appreciate about Abel, every time we hop on a call, I'm like, hey bro, what was last quarter versus this quarter? He's like, hold on a second. Yeah. Boom, he's got it all. Here's what we did last year. Last year in 2024, we were at this amount of volume. Here's where we are this year. Here's how much revenue. Here's like, we have to. If you're gonna go down that route, dude, you have to be maniacally focused on that. Because that gets out of hand super fast.
I think what he's asking is his business model the way that it is?
Yeah.
Is it a good model? And I run a very similar model. The question becomes, okay, do we want to scale out now? If we want to grow it, is it worth it for us to scale out that model?
Or to scale out.
Or scale out the team? So I run the same thing that you run, and it works. It makes $1 million a year. It basically works in that capacity. But it's not worth it for me to scale it out to 30, 40, 50 agents because of the friction that it's going to cost. So I have to make a decision, okay, I'm going to keep this model the way that it is, and at the same time, I'm going to grow this other model, which is the
Correct.
revenue share model, and that's the part that will actually give you the time freedom, location freedom, and all of that. So the way you have it, it's a business that produces cash, and it worked for you guys. Great, let's keep that. But now it's like, do I want to?
Strategically, which one do I want to go?
Scaling out to that.
Right.
And for me, it's not worth it because of the friction that it's going to cause. It's not worth it for me to work on a 10% profit margin. That to me is not like,
I'm not interested.
I don't want to grow a $10 million business to have $1 million in profit.
Yeah, and I'm glad you said that because that leads to our next slide, which is my favorite. Our boy Hosey, baby.
Hey, you know what's funny? I got some slides that think.
Good. Do you really? Do you really? Hey, do you? Oh, good. So you know what's funny about that? That was not planned at all. But me and Gabriella were coming up with slides. I'm like, oh yeah, we're definitely gonna do that. But here's the cool part. Jose is actually operating optimally in all of the vehicles that he's in, which is by no coincidence why he's destroying it. He's on track to do 150 deals this year. He's never done that before. I told him, hey, it's not 200, but it's not too bad. You know? You'll get there one day. But it's great. He's on track to do more units and volume in retail, and the creative stuff is blowing up. And he's also in the broker. He also has a massive team with none of the expenses. He's operating optimally in all of those categories, right? So here are the takeaway questions. Is your current model set up for profitability and efficiency? Which vehicles have we discussed would allow you to create the life that you want? Interesting, Josh, that we're talking about this because we just had that conversation. Yeah. Which vehicle or vehicles we discussed would allow you to create the life that you want? Bro, look at me, everybody. I work 70 hours a week, okay, for a long time. No matter how you slice that up, there is collateral damage. Relationships, your body, health, relationship with the Lord. Like, you don't have time for anything. There's collateral damage. You see what I'm saying? Like, so which vehicles, look, this is the cool part. Everybody here is smart, hardworking, and ambitious. You get to decide. Because now you know, yes? Or those who don't read are no different than those who can't. To know and to not do is the same thing as not knowing. Now you know. So you have to make a decision, right? Which vehicles that we've discussed would allow you to create the life that you want? What is stopping you from pivoting to this new model? What is stopping you from starting a cash offer program? What's stopping you from doing a deep dive? Yeah.
Fear.
Fear of what?
Fear of the unknown, fear of losing, fear of failing.
Yeah, it's good. Anybody besides David want to honestly raise their hand and say, I'm afraid too? Everybody should have their hand raised. I remember I was in church and they were talking about like David, and the pastor said something which was so good because he like just spoke right to me. He's like, hey, if you're sitting in your seat right now and you think you're David, you're not. And I was like, that's exactly what I was thinking. Knowledge equals confidence and ignorance equals fear. It's not that we're not, ignorance doesn't mean you're stupid. It just means you don't know something. It doesn't mean you're not capable, you just don't know, right? Here's the awesome part. There are people in this room who know. That's the whole point of what we're doing here. who are doing it actively, intentionally, purposely. Here's what's really cool. So Daniel calls me one day. He just goes to do our deal summit. And the way he came into our ecosystem, wild. We didn't know each other personally, did we? No. And a buddy of yours who watched videos, what did he say to you? He's like, yo, there's this thing that's happening and it's close to you. You should go. Yeah. And you, for whatever reason, decided to go. So you were like, okay, whatever, we'll check it out. And you go there, and the first day, what are you thinking?
I'm ready to switch to XP.
In a day, because he hears Jose talk. He hears us talk about this, right? And he's like, yeah, dude, there's got to be something here. Yeah, but then you got the value. You came up to me, you asked questions. And then within like a week, you had already made the transition. Yeah. And you were like one of the top agents, if not the top agent at your office, yes?
Yeah, I was number 3.
Number 3 out of the whole office, right? And but then he started to hear, like, he heard what he said, and it made sense to him. But then you were like, hey, I need to learn. So what did you do?
Started doing the coaching calls, joined the mastermind calls, and started implementing different things that you guys have taught.
Yeah, and now you're doing creative, have $45,000 waiting to, guys, there's no shortage of world-class instruction and information. You just need to actively and intentionally pursue it. Anybody besides me ever done something mildly dangerous that's supposed to be fun, like whitewater rafting or something? What's the first thing they tell you when you get there? During the safety thing. Sign a waiver, we're not gonna be, okay, but what else? Hey, listen to what they tell you. Here's what happens if you fall out of the boat. First thing, you know what they tell you? You have to be an active participant in your own rescue. You cannot lay on your back and be like, save me. No, you have to help them help you, yes? So guys, there's people in this room who are doing this model and crushing it. Yeah, Jose.
So, like teams potentially running a 10, 15, 20% margin.
Yeah.
What's a standard referral?
25%.
25.
30.
Potentially, right?
Yeah.
All right. Do you guys know how much money Dave Ramsey makes in referrals a year?
4 million, 5 million, something stupid. No?
I think it's something way larger.
Way higher.
30 to 50.
Wow. Just referral fees.
Referral fees. Now, do the referral fees have as much friction as doing the actual deal?
No.
So, like a different business model, like you have the UD channel, you're really great at generating.
Which they crush it.
You're really great at generating leads. Hey, I'm going to charge 30%, but not be involved in the frictional part and just basically refer it out at 30%. Now, what I'd rather
To some of your partners, let's say.
I'd rather have 50% on a highly frictional type of business.
That takes time and all this stuff.
Or would I rather have 30% on a business that's like, hey, you want to buy or sell? Great, let me refer you to so-and-so best agent in blank, basically.
Now here's what...
That's Dave Ramsey's business model. And that business model makes a lot more money than me. It makes a lot more money than people in this room. The business.
That's right. And what's wild about that, you mentioned YouTube. So they have an awesome YouTube channel.
This is great.
And they get like, they just passed 1 million in views. Is that what it was? Yeah. And you do... Yeah. 1 million.
Buying stuff.
Buying Southern Oregon. Yeah. Now here's the wild part. How many deals does that produce for you guys?
This year will probably do, well, so back to the team model.
Yeah.
Last year it was like 30.
Yeah.
This year it'll probably be like 50.
50 deals just from YouTube.
There,
Buying Southern Oregon.
there's so many smaller deal people hit us up. Hey, I want
You're like, nah, I'm good. Yeah, and like what Jose's saying is now you can look at it and be like, well, I was doing it in this vehicle, but if I did this other vehicle, I'd actually make more money and I have less friction. Right? Now, the other thing I think is really cool about them and what they're doing, they only have 5,000 subs. So a lot of you guys think, oh, I need like 1 million subs. No, you don't. You know what the problem is in our industry? They put people on panels that have a lot of subs, but they don't actually look to see if they make any money. On 5,000 subs, they do 50 deals with an average commission of like 10 to 15,000 bucks. They make like $500,000 just from people reaching out to them on YouTube, right? Yeah, subscribers. Sorry, you're like Subway sandwiches? What are we doing? What would you have to do, or what would you have to let go of to pivot to the new model?
I have something to add because we touched on it. I think like I'm lacking leadership skills because I fall into like, oh, I really want to like hire people to do sales. I don't want to do sales anymore. I want to hire and train. And then when they're not performing, I go back to closing. So like maybe I don't have the patience to see it through. So that's like the next level for me because like I know I'm good at closing and I can convert, but then I can't get someone to do it.
Yeah, and I think part of it, which I'm going to talk about as well, is what's your motive for leadership? So there's 2 types of motives. One is a reward-based leader. They think leadership is a reward for hard work. They shouldn't have to do anything they don't want to do. So even and the reason I'm bringing this up, and I mean this with love, you're saying, I want to hire you so I don't have to do this.
Right.
So wait, time out. So I know this is one of those times you're like, I hate him. So now the second motive is a responsibility-based motive, which is like, hey, you know what an example of that would be? Is like with Gabriella, she's my sister-in-law, and I've known her since she's 16, which is pretty wild. And actually, the first time I ever called Carla to ask her out, I was like, hey, and they shared a cell phone. They were like, I was like, can I speak to Carla, please? She's like, who is this? I was like, it's Aaron. She's like, it's him. I swear to God, like that's 100% true, 100% true. So, but that was helpful because at least for me, I was like, all right, she's talking about it. Okay, cool. So, but I said to Gabriella for 6 months, I was like, look, you should come, because she ran databases at a museum. She's really capable, right? But she got capped. So I was like, yo, you should come work with us, right? And she did. And then she came to me and she's like, hey, I want to figure out ways to make more money. I'm like, all right, well, what skill that you have could you actually help other people with? So then she did a deep dive on Follow Up Boss. She joined Follow Up Boss's, she was a moderator in Follow Up Boss's Facebook group with like 20,000 agents. And then she became and she's set up probably 20 to 25 people's Follow Up Bosses in the organization or people that I know. And I don't take any money from it. She makes an extra $25,000 a year doing that. Could I be like, hey bro, those are my folks, like give me, and did I initially think that? Yeah, for a second. But then that goes from like, what type of leader do I want to be, right? The other thing took me 6 months to convince her to get her license. I don't want to do it, I don't want to do it, I don't want to do it, I don't want to do it. She doesn't like taking tests, whatever. Right? I finally convinced her. Here she is, she's coming in. She doesn't know we're talking about her. I finally convinced her. Yeah, I finally convinced her to take the test, right? Because she said to me like, hey, like I want to make like a little bit extra money. I'm like, look, if I can help you make an extra $1,000 a month, you'll be like, yay. If I can help you make an extra $1,000 a month residually, you'll have a picture of me up in your house, and my nieces and nephews, when they walk by, they'll go like this. But now she's one of the leaders in the organization. She has 26 agents. She's in the top like 10 or 15 of all the agents.
I think my highest broker check was $3,000.
Let's fucking go. Huh? Yeah, no, but do you see? So like, it's a transition from like, I'm doing this so you can help me, to transitioning and thinking, I'm doing this so I can help, I can add value to you. You see what I mean? It's a transition in thinking. So like the opportunities that you present to like, hey, I'm gonna show you like how to do this. I'm not doing it like solely for the reason that I don't want to do it. I'm gonna show you how to do it because it's gonna actually help you and change your life. Then not only that, once you start doing deals, I'm gonna let you do deals with me. So anybody besides me, like when you're in Pace's presence, he's like magical human. I feel like he's like celestial. He just like walks in a room and like, what do you have? What do you need? What do you have? And just like gives stuff to people. It's wild, right? But if you notice, people come to him with a deal, he's like, hey, you realize instead of just making a commission, you can do it with me and I'll give you equity. Most of us don't deal with people that way. We're like, the equity's mine. I'm gonna pay you as least amount that I can pay you. Yeah? He wedges people into deals. There was an agent who brought him deals and she was making commissions. And then he's like, hey, just so you know, I'll share equity with you. Bro, she's a millionaire on paper after 12 months of doing deals with him. He changed that woman. You wanna know why his community's so raving? That's why. Because he changed your life. You know what I'm saying? That's there's people in this room, when I met them, they were not doing what they're doing now. Some people were living on their parents' couch, not making any money, having made some poor decisions. Now they're in a completely different situation, have a bunch of, that's why they are still around. And I think the pivot is because my tendency is I used to deal with people purely transactionally, right? And if we're not careful, we do that in everything. I'll do for you if you do for me. And it has to be equal, by the way. Actually, I need a little bit more than what I give you. Hey, here's a really interesting. What new skills would I have to learn? Leadership. What new skills would I have to learn? I'd have to learn all of these different exits, right? What new skills would I have to learn? Maybe I need to learn how to speak to probates. What new skills would I have to learn? Hey, maybe I need to get better at media. Maybe I've been just using media as a mechanism to gratify my ego. There's people in this room, I would look at their media years ago and be like, I don't know what you're selling. Looks like you're selling something else. Now, remember what I said to you. Look, the amount of progress that a man or woman experiences is directly correlated to the amount of truth that they can withstand. A lot of people, if I said that to them, they would get very mad. and never talked to me again. That one did not, and is now, has a completely different life and experience. Like you're gonna have to learn new skills, right? And what are those new skills? And then the last question is oh, this is so good. Who do you know that is already doing this that you can get proximity to? Who do you, look around you. Who do you know that is already doing this that you can get proximity to? You could spend time with. You could ask them questions about. And you know what I find what's really interesting? I've seen those little quotes, it's so true. Like somebody who's been successful in business, they'll never make fun of you for opening a business. Somebody who does media will never like rag on, be like, oh my God, that's so stupid and dumb, you shouldn't do that. They're always gonna be like helpful. And that's what everybody in this room, like I promise you, anybody who's already doing this, you go up to them, dude, they're an open book. They're gonna share with you. They're gonna open up the blueprint. Jose's gonna open up his blueprint. Abel's gonna open up his, hey, this is what I'm doing. This is exactly how I'm doing it, right? And then it's entirely up to us if we actually wanna make that pivot. So, again, I think we all have to make that decision moving forward. We have an accurate assessment of reality now. And now the question is, what am I gonna do with it? Am I gonna sit back and keep doing the same stuff? Or am I gonna learn some new things and have a completely different life? All right, so everybody stand up. We're gonna end this meeting same way we end all our meetings. Remember, the energy we bring to information is the same energy that, is the same energy that we bring to the information when we revisit the information. Okay, so we're gonna get 2 claps to Ric Flair, and then we're gonna go and have some food. Exactly, you ready? All right. Give me 2 claps to Ric Flair! Woo! All right, let's go have an amazing lunch. Everybody is here in this room because they've made a commitment to leading. The amount of progress that our man or woman experiences is directly correlated to the amount of truth they can withstand. Whether that's on your real estate teams and transaction volume, whether that's with building an organization,